It's a horrible, horrible disease.
Do you still remember Cake Boss? One of the most popular TV series that changed the narrative, or perhaps restructured how you view reality shows? Have you ever wondered what happened to cast members who took a break and never returned to your screen? Join us as we reveal the mysteries surrounding Cake Boss members that will leave you speechless. Mary Valastro. Mary Valastro was one of the most beloved members of Cake Boss. Born on April 17, 1948 in Italy, she was the wife of Buddy Valastro Sr. At a very young age, she moved to America, hoping for a better life. Like many immigrants, she didn't have the money, but she had the faith and strength to work hard. Initially, she found a job at a little bakery in Hoboken, New Jersey. It was called Carlo's Bakery. That's where she met a young baker named Buddy Valastro Sr. They fell in love, got married, and by 1964, they had bought the shop and started creating their own cakes. They even raised 5 children: Grace, Madalena, Mary, Lisa, and Buddy Jr., in a home filled with the smell of bread and sweet icing. Carlo's Bakery wasn't just a business, it was a part of their life. Alongside running the business, Mary always kept the family together. She wanted her kids to grow up knowing the meaning of hard work, honesty, and love. To Mary, the bakery was more than a place that made cakes. It was a place that built character, on how to treat people with respect and how to never give up, even when things got hard. But it didn't stop there. In 1994, Buddy Valastro Sr. passed away after a long battle with lung cancer. That moment left her heartbroken. Mary was left with the bakery, the bills, and 5 children to care for. Some people told her to sell the business. After all, 2 people running a bakery was hard, but now she was the only one. That might be the moment where everything could have fallen apart. However, Mary made a choice. She looked at her children, especially her son Buddy Jr., who was just 17 at the time, and said, "We're not giving up." She didn't care how hard it was. She didn't care what other people said. She just believed in her family. Mary's children stepped in to help. They rolled dough, decorated cakes, and worked long hours. Years later, when Cake Boss started filming, fans got to meet Mama Mary on screen. She was always strong and honest. Although she retired in 2010, Mary frequently visited the bakery, making sure the family stayed grounded. Behind the scenes, however, things may have been different. In 2011, Mary was diagnosed with amyotrophic lateral disorder, a condition where the person starts to lose the ability to move, speak, or even breathe. But despite everything, Mary kept showing up. She didn't want her illness to stop her from living. But unfortunately, Mary passed away on June 22, 2017, at the age of 69. She spent her final moments with Buddy Valastro by her side. The news hit hard. It wasn't something fans were prepared for. The Cake Boss team released a heartfelt message, expressing their grief and gratitude for the years of service Mary gave to the shop. Her presence was strong, but her absence was even stronger. Even now, when fans talk about the early days of Carlo's Bakery, Mary's name always comes up first. And without Mary, the shop never felt the same. Lisa Valastro. Lisa wasn't just Buddy Valastro's wife. She was the emotional foundation that actually made Cake Boss possible. Lisa Valastro was born on March 9, 1980 in New Jersey. She grew up in a family with deep respect for tradition. Lisa wanted a simple life with someone who truly cared about her, and that someone turned out to be Buddy Valastro. Their relationship began when Lisa was still in her teens. While Buddy worked long hours at Carlo's Bakery, he began to spend less time with Lisa. Most people would have left from that kind of pressure, but Lisa didn't. She stayed and supported him throughout the process. Eventually, in 2001, Lisa and Buddy got married. Marriage didn't slow them down. They raised 4 children and held their family close. While Buddy became the Cake Boss, Lisa became the heart of the home. She wanted to support Buddy's dream without losing herself in the process. As the seasons went on, fans noticed something. Lisa began appearing less frequently. She began shifting her focus away from the business and towards family. Behind the scenes, Lisa had been dealing with personal health concerns. However, Lisa's time on the show reflected that not everyone needs the spotlight to feel important. Some people work even harder behind the scenes, and they are the ones responsible for the show's true success. But the next person faced something far more devastating. Mary Ciarroni. Do you remember Mary, the crazy sister of Buddy Valastro? With her bold voice and sharp wit, she instantly became a fan favorite. Mary was born on September 30, 1969. She worked as a cake consultant, listening to the customers' needs and helped the team figure out what could actually be done. Fans remember the way she challenged Buddy, not just for the drama, but because she really cared for him. Eventually, she was married to Joe Ciarone, the only Valastro in-law who didn't work at the bakery. Mary balanced both motherhood and business, always trying to give her best, especially in a business where emotions could run high and expectations were always rising. But in early 2019, Mary's world came to a sudden halt. After a normal day, she started feeling chest pain. At first, she brushed it off, but the pain grew worse and led to a massive heart attack. The news hit hard and forced Mary to step away from Cake Boss, not because she wanted to, but because she had to. For a woman who wasn't used to slowing down, stepping back was one of the hardest decisions she ever made. Her fans missed her. Many had followed her journey from the very beginning, but Mary's exit was a reminder that even the strongest among us are fragile. But Mary wasn't the only one who faced a health scare that nearly cost her everything. Mauro Castano. Mauro Castano is an interesting personality on Cake Boss. At just 12 years old, he had moved to the United States in search of new opportunities, and by 1991 he was already married to Maddalena, Buddy's third sister, becoming an integral part of the Valastro family. At first he joined Carlo's bakery, trying to learn and prove himself, but over time he became one of the shop's most trusted pastry chefs. Buddy called him his right-hand man. However, despite all the fame, Mauro focused on supporting the family and continued to do what he truly loved. He just wanted to be the best baker he ever could. But then came the tipping point. On August 17, 2021, while Mauro was setting up for a wedding cake delivery, he started to feel dizzy. At first he tried to ignore it, but eventually his hands began to shake. He couldn't catch his breath, and then he suddenly collapsed onto the floor. He was rushed to the hospital, where doctors stated that Mauro had suffered a serious stroke. The stroke affected his speech and coordination and required emergency care followed by weeks of physical rehabilitation. He disappeared from the show. While other cast members continued making cakes, Mauro was in hospital, learning how to recover. The progress was slow. The man who once couldn't let a single project go now seemed more at peace letting go altogether. Some fans missed the energy he brought to the screen. Others found a new respect for the man behind the persona. Mauro's story is about transformation, a reminder that even the fiercest voices sometimes go quiet. But while Mauro found a new rhythm to life, another Cake Boss favorite had his own reasons for pulling back. Buddy Valastro. Buddy Valastro, also known as the Cake Boss, was known for his larger-than-life personality and a huge love for making unique cakes. Like any process in the shop, Buddy's dream life started from scratch. He wasn't just talking about cakes, he actually lived a life around them. Buddy made Carlo's bakery famous, but it wasn't just about fame. It was his true love for every part of the process. From turning simple ingredients into one-of-a-kind art, Buddy made sure each cake felt special. But behind his incredible strength was a heartbreaking childhood that very few people knew about. Buddy was born on March 3, 1977 in Hoboken, New Jersey. From an early age, Buddy loved watching his dad work on cakes. Eventually, he started learning the process and wanted to become the best baker in the city. But life doesn't always go as expected. After the sudden death of his father, Buddy was left with a huge burden at just 17 years old. Most people would have struggled with the idea of running a business, but Buddy took over the bakery and turned it into something bigger than he ever imagined. But that wasn't the whole story. In September 2020, Buddy was spending time with his family in their private bowling alley. Something went wrong with the pin setter machine. It looked like a small problem. He reached in, but the machine didn't stop. A metal rod pierced straight through Buddy's right hand. It fractured bones and tendons. He couldn't move. He couldn't pull away. He was rushed to the hospital. Doctors said it was one of the worst hand injuries they had ever seen. Recovery became his full-time focus, and Buddy was left unsure of what his future would look like. But Buddy's journey evolved with time by choosing to stay quiet. Because for Buddy, the legacy wasn't just about cakes. It was the people who made them. So who's your favorite Cake Boss member? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and click the next video on screen now for another interesting story.